An Aging Guide. Chapter 1. Getting Older Guide. Growing old in your mind. You're as old as you feel. Keep smiling. I read a lot of psychobabble and softball articles about the psychology of aging. It's all basically simple and the same. Use it or lose it. The idea is to stay active both by yourself in doing inspired activities and in contact with other people. I can go back to Erik Erikson's archaic theory of 8 stages of life from around 1971, which, despite all its psychobabble, comes down to one thing. You're either active doing something you feel has meaning and interacting socially and intimately with other people, or you're alone in a room somewhere, not doing much of anything, feeling sorry for yourself. One reason I don't like psychobabble is that they make everything a dramatic either-or situation. Most older people aren't intensely active or popular with a big group of people, but they don't feel lonely and depressed either. They live adequate, comfortable lives day by day. You don't need some great purpose in life or deep intimate relations with other people. There are enough divorces and deaths around for many millions of seniors to be living alone. They might have pets and some casual friends, but by the time you're 65, you should be cool with the solitary nature of the human condition. It's not desperate. It's the natural state of affairs to spend most of your time alone in your head. Most old people end up alone. In a couple, one will die before the other. If you want some knowledge about living by your true nature and releasing most of your natural energy every day, read my book A Free Spirit's Search for Enlightenment. Other than that, you are what you think and do. Think you're old, you will be old. Don't do much but sit around watching TV and you're a couch potato. Enjoy the present. Don't worry about possibilities including your death. Reverend Sun Moon, the leader of an Eastern cult, said, enjoy your life, enjoy your death. There is nothing you can do about it. He believed in reincarnation as most Orientals do. If you're healthy, you'll outlive most of your friends and relatives. Be ready for it. If you got something deep you want to tell your kids, do it now. Get it over with. Death is common. It's better to die in your bed than to die in some accident or crime. Count your blessings. I say to myself that the day I die I'll be doing the exact same thing I'm doing now, releasing most of my natural energy with love for the process and intensity every day. How could I possibly live a better life than that? Some people enter the world of memory and reflection. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, 1969, describes 5 stages of impending death: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Diet and exercise can counterbalance a lot of the effects of aging. If your spouse dies, you owe it to yourself to continue on with joy. The general belief is that capacities such as memory and problem-solving decline with age. Keeping on reading and learning. Read some of my books. Develop new interests and activities. Growing old gracefully. Many artists and great thinkers get better with age, like a fine wine or good cheese. Bellini, Braque, Cezanne, Degas, Edison, Einstein, Goya, Matisse, Michelangelo, Monet, Picasso, Poussin, Rembrandt, Schweitzer, Shaw, Tintoretto, Titian and Frank Lloyd Wright all stayed productive and inspired as they aged. To age gracefully means one thing, which is to move towards simplicity and youth, to culture a strong mental attitude that enables you to carry on as though you're still young, strong, and vital. Take care of yourself in mind, body, and soul. It's that simple. Just because you're older than most doesn't mean you're spiritually dead as a non-person. Don't let others take advantage of you. Have self-respect. You have as much right as anyone else to do exactly as you please. Grief and loneliness are parts of life at any age. Deal with them by being easy on yourself, trying to stay calm and strong, regularly doing some soulful pursuits to stay young in spirit. Aside from the generic explanation of staying active, the biggest killers in old age are loneliness, demoralization, loss of the physical and vital self, and the onset of a spiritual death in the mind as you increasingly feel more neglected and forgotten by society. The only real solution is to keep your connection to your soul, surround yourself with like-minded people and stay active either within yourself or within the community. The extended family with the grandparents living with their children is all but gone, so you must find other ways to feed the love that you need, either by having good friends, working at something you enjoy, volunteering somewhere, having a social network, a pet or two, talking via the internet, or any number of other outlets where you can be with nice people who'll share time with you. That's it in a nutshell. I know an older guy, 62 years old, who married a younger woman and now has several babies running around the house. He told me that's his key to staying young. Aging is generally accompanied by a loss in physical and mental abilities. The performance and ability of the elderly has long been underestimated and can be greatly improved by a proper diet, sleep and exercise, along with rest and relaxation. Many elderly people tend to lose their joy and will to live and may mope and withdraw. Laughter is one of the best medicines. You can always keep your sense of humor tuned up by surrounding yourself with pleasant and interesting people. Just act your age and don't be afraid to laugh at yourself even when no one else is around. Accepting inevitable death is tough, but you have to make some kind of peace with your spiritual views about death so that you can deal with it better when the time comes. Many older people make religious pilgrimages to Jerusalem or some other shrine. If you're not religious now, consider checking it out. Prayer is a kind of meditation. Try to get close to your God, whomever he or she may be. Pray or sing softly to yourself. You have to recognize your mortality, accept it and move on from there. When you're near death, you'll want to feel as though you've lived a full life, so do it now. When you're dead, you hope that some loved ones will keep your memories in their hearts and pass the torch on from whatever beauty and strengths you brought to the world. Accept your role as a grandparent. Try to have contact with your grandchildren no matter what the situation is with your own children. Many people have estranged children. Try to make peace with them. If you have anything you want to say to your kids, say it now. If you need help from your kids or they offer, accept it gracefully. Treat them with respect, show them your independence but also your openness to let them in to help you and get closer as you get older. Throughout your life, you will have many hard times and some sadness. Think it over, resolve it in your mind, but don't get caught in the trap that old age becomes a time of self-pity. Negativity can be good if used as a springboard for inspiration. Basically, life in old age goes on the same as life at any age, except that it'll probably be at a limited pace. Just adjust yourself a little bit and go on loving and being productive the same as you did when you were younger. You get your joy a bit at a time out of special moments during the day. If you've been just getting along with your wife, strive to rekindle the sparks by doing passionate things together. Continue on with work or a passion that you feel strongly about. If you want to change course, consider doing something where you can help people. I call it soul work, helping people in some way. Many people become solitary and lonely with age. The way to fight this is to be active, get out there and doing something with people. Go to your local senior community center. Statistics claim that isolated people are 10 times more likely to get sick and die earlier than people in intimate relationships. Try to make peace with your brothers and sisters and anyone else you feel you should settle things with. Battle the urge to feel old. It's all about mental and physical strength, which can be improved via exercise. Books about the psychology of aging are at number 155.67 and 612.67 at the library. Books about seniors, retirement, and aging are at number 301.435, number 305.26 and number 646.79-80. You'll find some inspirational, psychology-type books at number 155.67. Religious books about aging are at number 248.85 or BV 4580 at the library. Books about dealing with death and widowhood are at number 155.937, number 301.428 and number 306.87-90. Books about small towns relating to retirement are at number 307.76. Housing books are at number 301.54. Alternative living books are at number 307.774. Medical books go from number 610-619, for seniors in particular, they're at number 612.67, number 613 and number 618.97. Health and nursing care books go from number 362.61 to number 362.82. There are also books at number 371.334. Try 782.421 or BF 724.5 at the library. Books about RVs are at number 796.79. Books about middle-aged health are at number 618.2082 and RA 778 at the library. Aging Prose. 70 years is all we have. 80 years if we are strong. Yet all they bring us is trouble and sorrow. Life is soon over and we are gone. Psalms 90:10. And now every fresh day finds me more filled with wonder and better qualified to draw the last drop of delight from it. For up until now, I had never known time's inexpressible wealth, and my youth had never entirely yielded itself to happiness. Is it indeed this that they call growing old, this continual surge of memories that come breaking in on my inner silence, this contained and sober joy, this light-hearted music that bears me up, this spreading, kindly feeling and this gentleness? Maurice Gaudequet, The Delights of Growing Old, 1965. Hold fast to time. Use it. Be conscious of each day, each hour. They slip away unnoticed all too easily and swiftly. Thomas Mann, September 1938, Diaries, 1918–1939. When I come to be old. Not to marry a young woman. Not to keep young company unless they really desire it. Not to be peevish, morose, or suspicious. Not to scorn present ways or wits or fashions or men or war. Not to be fond of children or let them come near me hardly. Not to tell the same story over and over to the same people. Not to be covetous. Not to neglect decency or cleanliness for fear of falling into nastiness. Not to be severe with young people but give allowances for their youthful follies and weaknesses. Not to be influenced by or give ear to knavish tattling servants or others. Not to be too free of advice nor trouble any but those that desire it. To desire some good friends to inform me which of these resolutions I break or neglect and wherein, and reform accordingly. Not to talk much, nor of myself. Not to boast of my former beauty or strength or favour with ladies. Not to hearken to flatteries nor conceive I can be beloved by a young woman. Not to be positive or opinionative. Not to set up for observing all these rules, for fear I should observe none. Jonathan Swift, 1699. Time, they say, makes a man mellow. I do not believe it. Time makes a man afraid and fear makes him conciliatory, and being conciliatory, he endeavours to appear to others what they will think mellow. And with fear comes the need for affection, of some human warmth to keep away the chill of the cold universe. When I speak of fear, I do not mean merely or mainly personal fear, the fear of death or decrepitude or penury or any such merely mundane misfortune. I am thinking of a more metaphysical fear. I am thinking of the fear that enters the soul through experience of the major evils to which life is subject, the treachery of friends, the death of those whom we love, the discovery of the cruelty that lurks in the average human nature. Bertrand Russell, Autobiography, 1968. I am conscious also that during this year I have become much older. I do not think that my deafness has seriously increased, nor are my limbs less supple than they were in 1948. But I have put on weight and lost many teeth and much hair and perhaps vigor. I am not really conscious of a decline in my mental energy. But I have intimations that my thoughts move in the old grooves and do not push out into new grooves, and that my ways of expression are becoming stereotyped. It is not a good period of history into which to grow old. Harold Nicholson, Diaries, December 31, 1949. To be exactly as I am, decrepit nature yet supernature in one, equally alert on the damp ground and in the turbulent air. Perhaps I don't have to wait for old age for that invisible trespass and pedestrian tread, insensible of mortality and desperately mortal. Miss Marple. Age is a state of mind. If you have left your dreams behind, If hope is cold. If you no longer look ahead. If your ambition's fires are dead. Then you are old. But if from life you take the best. And if in life you keep the jest. If love you hold. No matter how the years go by. No matter how the birthdays fly. You are not old. Anonymous Jailbird. Mailer never had a particular age, he carried different ages within him like different models of his experience. Parts of him were 81 years old, 57, 48, 36, 19, etc., etc. He now went back abruptly from 57 to 36. Norman Mailer, The Armies of the Night, 1968. I believe that when one is young, it is the object, the outside world, that fills one with enthusiasm, one is carried away. Later, it comes from inside, the need to express his feelings urges the painter to choose some particular starting point, some particular form. Bonnard, in Simone de Beauvoir, Old Age, 1972. John Anderson my Joe John Anderson my Joe, John when we were first acquainted, your locks were like the raven your bony brow was brent, but now your brow is belled, John your locks are like the snaw, but blessings on your frosty pow John Anderson my Joe. John Anderson my Joe, John. We climb the hill thegither. And money a canty day, John. We've had ane another. Now we maun totter down, John. And hand in hand we'll go. And sleep thegither at the foot. John Anderson my Joe. Robert Burns. It's as though I was walking down Shaftesbury Avenue as a fairly young man and I was suddenly kidnapped, rushed into a theatre and made to don the grey hair, the wrinkles and other marks of age then wheeled on stage. Yet behind the appearance of age, I'm still the very same person with the same thoughts as when I was younger. J. B. Priestley. Crabbed age and youth cannot live together. Youth is full of pleasance, age is full of care. Youth, like summer morn, age like winter weather. Youth, like summer brave, age like winter bear. Youth is full of sport, age's breath is short. Youth is nimble, age is lame. Youth is hot and bold, age is weak and cold. Youth is wild and age is tame. Age, I do abhor thee, youth I do adore thee. Shakespeare, The Passionate Pilgrim, 1590. Grow old along with me. The best is yet to be. Robert Browning. 'Tis strange that it is not in vogue to commit hara-kiri as the Japanese do at 60. Nature is so insulting in her hints and notices, does not pull you up by the sleeve, but pulls out your teeth, tears off your hair in patches, steals your eyesight, twists your face into an ugly mask, in short, puts all contumelies upon you, without in the least abating your zeal to make a good appearance, and all this at the same time that she is moulding the new figures around you into wonderful beauty, which of course is only making your plight worse. Ralph Waldo Emerson, Journals, 1863. You fade, old presences, and leave me here. In dismal trickle of a dimming May. I play old records and lay solitaire. Through aimless hours of Memorial Day. Cities, I'll never visit, books that I'll never read. Magic, I'll never master. In a cage. I stalk from room to room, lose heat and speed. Now entering the dark defile of old age. Edmund Wilson, May 22, 1966. Because you have an occasional spell of despondency, do not despair. After all, remember that the sun has a sinking spell every night but rises again in the morning. Anonymous. For age is opportunity no less than youth itself. Though in another dress. And as the evening twilight fades away, the sky is filled with stars, invisible by day. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. A 17th-century nun's prayer. Lord, thou knowest better than myself. Know that I am growing older and will someday be old. Keep me from the fatal habit of thinking I must say something on every subject and on every occasion. Release me from the craving to straighten out everybody's affairs. Make me thoughtful, but not moody, helpful, but not bossy. With my vast store of wisdom it seems a pity not to use it all. But thou knowest, O Lord, that I want a few friends at the end. Keep my mind free from the recital of endless details. Give me wings to get to the point. Seal my lips on my aches and pains. They are increasing in love of rehearsing. Them is becoming sweeter as the days go by. I dare not ask for grace enough to enjoy the tales of others' pains. But help me to endure them with patience. I dare not ask for an improved memory, but for a growing humility and a lessening cocksureness. When my memory seems to clash with the memories of others, teach me the glorious lesson that occasionally I may be mistaken. Keep me reasonably sweet, I do not want to be a saint. Some of them are so hard to live with. But a sour old person is one of the crowning works of the devil. Give me the ability to see good things in unexpected places, and talents in unexpected people. And give me, O Lord, the grace to tell them so. Amen. Being 80 is a lot better than being 70. At 70, people are mad at you for everything. At 80, you have a perfect excuse no matter what you do. If you act foolishly, it's your second childhood. Everybody is looking for symptoms of softening of the brain. Frank C. Laubach. 83 years gone by. I do not know that I am satisfied when I consider how so many years have passed, how I have filled them. What useless agitations, what fruitless endeavors. Tiresome complications, exaggerated emotions, spent efforts, wasted gifts, hatreds aroused, sense of proportion lost, illusions destroyed, tastes exhausted. What results in the end? Moral and physical weariness, complete discouragement, and profound disgust with the past. There are a crowd of people who have the gift or the drawback of never properly understanding themselves. I possess only too much the opposite disadvantage or superiority, it increases with the gravity of old age. Talleyrand, French statesman, February 2, 1837. After 60, the inclination to be alone grows into a kind of real, natural instinct, for at that age, everything combines in favor of it. The strongest impulse, the love of women's society, has little or no effect. It is the sexless condition of old age which lays the foundation of a certain self-sufficiency and that gradually absorbs all desire for others' company. Arthur Schopenhauer, Counsels and Maxims, Pererga and Paralipomena, 1851. When all the fiercer passions cease. The glory and disgrace of youth. When the deluded soul in peace can listen to the voice of truth. When we are taught in whom to trust, and how to spare, to spend, to give. Our prudence kind, our pity just. 'Tis then we rightly learn to live. George Crabbe, Reflection, 1807. I am still expecting something exciting, drinks, animated conversation, gaiety, brilliant writing, uninhibited exchange of ideas. I have never had quite the expectation of Scott Fitzgerald's character that somewhere things were glimmering. I thought life had its excitements wherever I was. But it was part of the same zeitgeist. Now I try to discipline myself not to be so silly in depending for really deep satisfaction on things that are transitory and superficial. I try to diet and cut down on drinking and not to look forward to sprees. I hope I am well on the way to becoming a sedate, old gentleman. Edmund Wilson, 1960. At 45, what next, what next? At every corner, I meet my father. My age, still alive. Robert Lowell, Middle Age, For the Union Dead, 1965. Older people who live spiritual lives ever widen their spiritual horizons and ever expand their consciences. Older people who live only a daily routine become more and more stupid over the years. The Talmud. I'm 47 now. Up to a year ago I tried deliberately to pull the wool over my eyes so that I shouldn't see the realities of life, and I thought I was doing the right thing. But now, if you only knew. I lie awake night after night in sheer vexation and anger that I let time slip by so stupidly during the years when I could have had all the things from which my age now cuts me off. Anton Chekhov, Uncle Vanya, 1900. I never wake without finding life more insignificant than it was the day before. My greatest misery is recollecting the scene of 20 years past and then all of a sudden dropping into the present. Jonathan Swift, Letter to Henry St. John Bolingbroke, April 5, 1729. The Hindus have a basic philosophy where the first 25 years of life are to be spent learning, the next 25 years earning, the third 25 years giving to charity, then whatever's left should be spent in meditation, gradually giving all your possessions away, preparing for death. There is a city in India called Varanasi near the Ganges River where old people go to die and be cremated. You don't get to choose your own death, unless you kill yourself, but you do get to choose how you're going to live. Aging one-liners 1. You've got to appreciate what you have while you still have it. Jack Nicholson in movie about Schmidt. Almost without thinking, I bent and gave her a hug. She held onto me tightly. You gave an old woman a little moment of joy, she said. Thank you. I squeezed her hand and then walked into the dim morning light behind me, a door shut. It was the sound of the closing of a life. We're conditioned to think that our lives revolve around great moments. But great moments often catch us unaware, beautifully wrapped in what others may consider a small one. Another year has passed and we are all a little older. Last summer felt hotter and winter seems much colder. There was a time not long ago when life was quite a blast. Now I fully understand about living in the past. We used to go to weddings, football games, and lunches. Now we go to funeral homes and after-funeral brunches. We used to have hangovers from parties that were gay. Now we suffer body aches and while the night away. We used to go out dining and could not get our fill. Now we ask for doggy bags, come home, and take a pill. We used to often travel to places near and far. Now we get sore asses from riding in the car. We used to go to nightclubs and drink a little booze. Now we stay home at night and watch the evening news. That, my friend, is how life is, and now my tale is told. So, enjoy each day and live it up before you are too damned old. They will still bear fruit in old age, they will stay fresh and green. Psalm 92:14. In the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. Abe Lincoln. Love thyself and keep moving. Eartha Kitt, former Catwoman in Batman TV series. When you start to get compliments about how young you look, you can be sure you're getting old. I will not make age an issue. I am not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience. Ronald Reagan, Presidential Debate, 1984. People are anxious to save up financial means for old age, they should also be anxious to prepare a spiritual means for age. Wisdom, maturity, tranquility do not come all of a sudden when we retire. Abraham Joshua Herschel. You will always find joy in the evening if you've spent the day well. George Matheson. Life is a hard fight, a struggle, a wrestling with the principle of evil, hand to hand, foot to foot. Every inch of the way is disputed. The night is given us to take breath, to pray, to drink deep at the fountain of power. The day, to use the strength which has been given us, to go forth to work with it till the evening. Florence Nightingale. When your thinking becomes clouded with pessimism and prevents you from taking risks, then you are old and not until then. Anonymous. For me, old age is always 15 years older than I am. Too soon old, too late smart. Anybody who can still do at 60 what he was doing at 20 wasn't doing much at 20. Jimmy Carter. I married an archaeologist because the older I grow, the more he appreciates me. Agatha Christie. The 7 Ages of Man, Spills, Drills, Thrills, Bills, Ills, Pills, Wills. Richard Needham. Old age, when actions creak louder than words. Dana Robbins. Today I entered on my 82nd year and found myself just as strong to labor and as fit for any exercise of body or mind as I was 40 years ago. John Wesley. There are 3 ages to mankind: youth, middle age, and my, you re looking good. Marie Stopes. You can take no credit for beauty at 16. But if you are beautiful at 60, it will be your soul's own doing. Marie Stopes. Whatever poet, orator, or sage may say of it, old age is still old age. Sinclair Lewis. By the time a man gets to greener pastures he can't climb the fence. Frank Dixon. Call him not old, whose visionary brain holds o'er the past its undivided reign. For him in vain the envious seasons roll, who bears eternal summer in his soul. Oliver Wendell Holmes. Those who do not hope for another life are always dead to this one. Goethe. You always feel the same inside, the essence of your soul. You're only as old as you feel. Spring in your heart puts a spring in your step. We don't stop playing because we're old. We grow old because we stop playing. Take care of your health, live a long life and have an easy death. Live all the days of your life. Live as long as you want and want to as long as you live. Make the most of life while you may. Time is short and will wear away. We don't stop laughing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop laughing. Wrinkles should merely indicate where smiles have been. Mark Twain. Don't feel bad about growing old. Many are denied the privilege. If I had known I'd live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. Live long and die in your own bed. Stay young to sustain old age. May we get more beautiful as we age than say our farewells when it's time to go, smiling and unafraid. Live for a long life as your treasure. You're not as old as you're going to be. When I dream, I'm never old. I'm so worn out that I can't do the things I wanted to do when I retired. I hate old age, but it's better than death. The work is never done as long as you have power. Just because you end one race doesn't mean that life is over. When you get near the end, you realize how much you have left undone. I feel a part of everything, so when I die it'll just be a natural part of life. Don't be sorry for relishing in the spirit of life regardless of age. I lost my eyes, ears, teeth, hair, power, strength, but I'm still doing fine without them. Your youthful spark can take you well into old age if you let it. Now, as an old man, I'm on borrowed time. I can do anything I want or do nothing but sit back, eat chocolate, drink beer and watch adult movies. Sexy old guy. Aging one-liners too. I feel like an old nuisance. Everybody's so kind to me like I'm a helpless old coot. I like to work, why should I retire? Drink a toast to all the old-timers who burned brightly until the end. The sands of life are nearly done, let me leave in peace. You can never write the words "the end" if you want to live a full life. In my old age, I feel that faith in God is what sustains me. Wear out, don't rust. It's as beautiful a day as any, but all I want to do is sleep. My biggest regrets are the doubts that I lived a misspent life. I have no rivals, they're all dead. I can afford to be generous with young folk. All my friends are 20 or more years younger than me. At least I don't have to try to look beautiful anymore now that aging has freed me from it. In simpler times, we were happier with much less. These days, they're too worried, too ambitious, too anxious to get ahead of their neighbors. Age doesn't make you any more moral or good. Why be afraid of getting old and dying? It's natural. I'm an old derelict with most of my friends gone and the others dying away. Some people seem to not let aging bother them. There's a time to be old, to enjoy life in a different way, to let it come naturally. I saw an old man looking back at me in the midst of a crowd of youth trying to recapture something I lost a long time ago. Whenever things got tough, I took a drink to relax. Now I can't even do that. I've never really learned how to live, and now that I'm old, I realize that life is for living. So little done, so much to do. Cecil Rhodes, Near Death, March 26, 1902. When you get as old as I am, you realize health and happiness are more important than anything else. Aging is one of the few things that consumes you once you realize it's happening to you. I constantly hear my inner voice telling me I'm getting near the end. I have only managed to live so long by carrying no hatreds. Sir Winston Churchill, 1951. Everybody wants to be young, but getting to old age means you beat the game of life that claims so many before their time. I need so many repairs that it might be cheaper to tear down this old building and build a new one. I just want a few years of peace before I die. In all of my life, I've only lived a few really good years. Work, stress, and mundanity took all the rest of my time. I am a crumbling man, a magnificent ruin, no doubt, but still a ruin, and like all ruins I look best by moonlight. Gilbert and Sullivan and Their World, Leslie Bailey, 1973. When you're older, you should be wiser. Aging isn't bad if you can do it with dignity. I choose a quiet, relaxed life. All my former ambitions now seem like vain, frivolous ventures. Sometimes, I feel up, sometimes I feel down. It takes a lot of effort to continue on with my work, but it's the source of my inspiration and every now and then puts a spring in my step, so I must keep doing it. Sometimes I feel young, sometimes I feel old, then I feel young again, then old. You pay heavily for living too long, like an old car always breaking down. I wish to seek out adventure, to laugh at death until it comes in the midst of a full life. Once I hit my 60s, I realized I could never recover the happiness that passed me by in my 20s because I was working too hard. I'm an old man. If I don't enjoy myself now, when will I ever get the chance again? Aging is just a nuisance to all the things I do to live a full life. I'm not dead, but most of my friends are. Old people need to be touched and loved, but everybody stays away but the doctor. Age is a state of mind. You can be as young or as old as you want. The worst part about being old is remembering when you were young. Alvin in 1999 movie The Straight Story. You're not getting old, you're just an older version of who you always were. Growing old ain't bad when you consider the alternative. You can't change it, so live with it. We don't know the value of our moments until they become memories. Better to be 80 years young than 40 years old. Die young, as old as possible. At 50, everyone has the face he deserves. George Orwell, Notebook, April, 1949. The difference between a young soul and an old one is a sense of adventure versus a craving for ease. Why do we have to age and die still so thirsty for life? If you wait until retirement to get young, carefree, and enjoy your life, you're 50 years too late. It's never too late to be who you were meant to be. Despite so many ordeals, my advanced age and the nobility of my soul make me conclude that all is well. Oedipus from Greek mythology. As I approve of a youth that has something of the old man in him, so I am no less pleased with an old man that in him has something of the youth. Cicero. Do not grow old no matter how long you live. Never cease to stand like curious children before the great mystery into which we were born. Einstein, The Human Side. I want to die in peace, not in pieces. Each of us stands alone to face a glorious life if we want it, but one day, we'll face the sunset. At last, the years catch up and we know it'll soon be over. I have already died all deaths and I am going to die all deaths again. Hermann Hesse, Poems. He who is interested in life is also interested in death as part of life. The great tragedy is not death but what dies inside while you're alive. Immortality is to knock on death's door as an adventure. The greatest tears shed over the death of a loved one is for things not said and not done. The only thing you leave behind is the love you had for others. You die exactly the way you live. The closer you get to death, the sweeter you realize life is. Getting older is the only way to live long. The age of maturity is that age at which one is still young and is much more resourceful. What most torments me about the foolishness of my youth, is no the crazy things I have done but the fact that I can't go back and do them again. To get old is to go from passion to compassion. Many people reach 80 because they waste time trying to stay at 40 forever. At 20, desire rules, at 30, reason rules, and at 40, it's time for good sense and judgment. Whoever is not beautiful at 20, strong at 30, rich at 40, nor wise at 50, will never be beautiful or strong or rich or wise. When we pass 60, there are fewer things that we think are absurd. Young people think the old are ridiculous. The old know the young are ridiculous. A mature person goes back to find the serenity once enjoyed as a child. Nothing passes by as quickly as the years. In the eyes of youth, there burns a flame. In the eyes of the old, there shines a light. The initiative of youth and the experience of the older each have equal value. Each age calls for its own appropriate behavior. Young people travel in groups, adults travel in pairs, and old people walk alone. Happy is the one who was young as a youth, and happy is the one who is wise in old age. We all want to grow old, and we all want to deny when we have arrived there.